A Bug's Life, a story of revolution, standing up for others, and embracing individuality in a world where everyone is the same, and sometimes literally the same animation model. But if we shift the perspective from the idealistic flick,
I know it's a rock!
and instead focus on the only one holding this fragile society together, Hopper is no longer a feel-good hero's journey, it's a cautionary tale, a desperate fight to maintain order before civilization crumbles by the hands of the unwashed masses, or in this case, carnies. But to imagine that, let me just put you in his shoes. Now, you are Hopper, ruthless, tenacious, and burdened with your vision, leader of the Los Hoptones. A name you had to come up with yourself because the last time you let democracy slide, the crew ended up being called the Buggy McBugface crew. And yes, the rest of your crew are in fact morons. They couldn't tell the lamp from the sun, and that's why they need you and your guidance. Otherwise they'd fly straight into it screaming,
Can't help it. It's so beautiful.
and yet somehow you also need to rely on these people to enforce order. This is your curse. To be the only one with the will to act. A long time ago, because in this world grasshoppers live for 1 billion years for some reason, you realized something profound. Fear is free labor. And the best creatures to exploit? Ants. They're mindless, obedient, and so easily controlled. And for years, you've maintained an elegant, self-sustaining system where you take, they give, and everyone stays in their place. You don't do this because you enjoy it. No, this isn't about pleasure. This is your duty. Because if you weren't in charge, and if you let someone else take the reins even for a second, chaos, anarchy, the end of civilization as we know it. And the other grasshoppers, oh, they'd be dead in a week, eaten by birds or worse, starving, lost, and hopelessly trying to organize their own food like savages. So imagine your surprise when you arrive at this ant colony that's under your thorax and there is no food. No, not less food. 0 food, which is impossible. And they don't forget to collect food. It's like their whole thing. It's literally their entire personality. So there's only one logical explanation. This is a coup. The ants are conspiring against you, planting rebellious ideas in their tiny, pathetic little brains. It's the ladybugs. It has to be the ladybugs. So you do what any rational leader would do. You break down their roof, remind them who's the boss, and you put the fear of God in them. But in this case, their God is you. And as you march through the colony, not a single one of them actually possesses a spine. Good. Good. So it turns out maybe it was a coup. This wasn't defiance. No, it was probably just an accident. A tragic mistake. Well, these things do happen. But if they start thinking accidents are okay, if they start thinking that they can slip up and nothing will happen, next thing you know, they'll be thinking for themselves. Once they start thinking for themselves, what next? The grasshoppers? What if the grasshoppers start questioning things? What happens to you? No. No. You cannot allow that to happen.
Where's my food?
And this queen, princess, regal, apparently, looking ant with a slight attitude problem, has the audacity to start explaining things to you.
Do I look stupid to you?
Wow, okay, like, princess, come on.
Let's just think about the logic, shall we? Let's just think about it for a second. If it was up there, would I be coming down here to your level looking for it? You don't smell like the queen.
She's learning to take over from me, Hopper.
Oh, that explains a lot. You're a learning queen. The last thing you need is an accident-prone monarch. You can't have a leader who's just figuring things out along the way. No! That's how empires crumble. And we can't have this crumbling, otherwise there'll be a podcast made by Paul Cooper, which would be cool, but at the same time, no. So you remind her what the first rules of leadership is.
Rule of leadership. Everything is your fault.
Does she think you want to rule over mindless drones? Does she think that you enjoy being the only one with a brain? This is not a privilege, this is a sacrifice. It's a burden. You alone carry the weight of the world, because if you didn't, it would collapse. And that's why you need people like her to do their jobs without needing to be told. That's the only way order can work. Because you see...
It's a bug-eat-bug world out there, princess. One of those circle of life kind of things.
And you are their top dog, the top G, the only thing standing between them and total annihilation. They also don't need to know that there's essentially like a whole thriving insect metropolis outside where beetles run coffee shops and cockroaches are financial advisors. No, it's a good thing that they're isolated. But just as you're establishing the dominance,
Things are supposed to work. The sun grows the food, the ants pick the food, the grasshoppers eat the food.
And the birds eat the grasshoppers. Hey, like the one that nearly ate you.
you're trying to make a point, a powerful, world-shattering, civilization-saving point, and your brother undermines you. Like, what is his deal, man?
Where, if I hadn't promised Mother on her deathbed that I wouldn't kill you, I'd kill you.
And that's the thing. You are still a man of integrity. You keep your word. You are not a monster. You're a pragmatist. But luckily your little temper tantrum puts an end to any potential dissidents. Good. Because the second one ant starts to speak up, they all might. And that's the end. So fine, you'll be merciful. You give them an out.
Come, so you can all just try again.
This is not because you're nice. No. This is because you need to give them time to realize that accidents will lead to... And then, just as you're securing your iron grip on reality,
What's the matter? You scared of grasshoppers? Leave her alone!
tiny, insignificant, irrelevant, but it has an opinion, there it is, dissidence. So you have to make an example out of it. Don't kill it, or it'll be a martyr, and martyrs breed strength. No, you cannot do that. You just have to make an example, make him look weak. Make that small sliver of defiance look weak.
Me that you ants are forgetting your place.
So let's double the order of food.
And just like that, order is restored. At least for now. So you and your boys, you take off. Go back to doing what you do best. Chilling, relaxing, and of course, eating cake. You and your boys are eating pretty good. Now actually scratch that. You and your boys have enough food to feed an ant colony 1,000,000 times over. No, more. You have so much food that if a single ant dedicated their entire existence to grain, collecting it from sunrise to sunset, no breaks, no distractions, it would take tens of thousands of years for them to gather what you have right now. And that's just the way there has to be for order to succeed. Because if the ants ever have too much, they'd get fat off the land. They'd start to think, and thinking leads to questions. Questions lead to problems. No, they need to starve. They need to be desperate. Desperation keeps the system running. They need to be hungry enough to work, but not hungry enough to riot. They need to struggle, so that way they are grateful for the scraps that you benevolently bestow upon them. And I mean, if they ever saw what you had, well, that'd be the end of everything. For you, for your boys, for civilization itself. Honestly, they should thank you. But then your idiot brother comes waltzing in, running his mouth like he always does, interrupting your massage. It's just rude.
Vice president and all. And this is a thought, and it was mine. Why go back to Ant Island at all?
Did he just call himself the vice president? No. This is not a democracy. The only vice we have here is drugs, gambling, and hookworms. And he is there in your presence trying to tell you maybe we shouldn't go back to the anthill. That you have enough food. Questions. Thinking. Problems. And now there's dissidents in your own crew. You know what's happening here. They put your moron brother up to be a patsy. And do you know what we do with patsies? We make examples out of them. So you fly down. You gauge the room.
Guys, order another round because we're staying here.
Of course the idiots are cheering. They don't understand what this actually means. So you walk around the table. You're pacing. You let them feel the gravity of your presence. They're eating it up like they always do. So you give them something to chew on.
But there was that ant that stood up to me.
You let them sit on that thought.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant.
Just one ant. They teach you what better than you ever dreamed.
Let's pretend this brain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Of course these morons don't get where this is going. Oh, now they get it. It's a masterful stroke, honestly, because you actually kill the guys that are trying to usurp your authority while also demonstrating to the others the importance of what is going on here. You've almost got goosebumps by how genius you are. These grasshoppers are just like the ants. They're mindless, they're stupid. No, actually, they're worse. The ants at least work. These guys, they don't know anything. They've never suffered. They've never struggled. For them, it's just about decadence and luxury, living a good life.
It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back!
And just like that, they're all on board. So you and your boys, you head off, and flying there, you realize a grim reality. There really wasn't that much food on the island, to be honest. And you're probably going to have to squish the queen to set an example. It's a tragic event, to be sure. Regicide is always messy business. But this is what it takes. This is your burden. This is your cross to bear. And of course you arrive in the fog, because honestly you couldn't have done it better even if you tried. But again, there's no food. Or at least really meager portions. So unfortunately you had to take charge again.
Well, guess what? You just lost.
And this time you've forced them into actual slavery. You hate doing it because, you know, slavery is wrong, but sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. But unless they're showed the error of their ways, unless they're forced into a famine, they could rise up. And if they all die, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And the ants do their job well. You take a page out of the old Pizarro playbook. Outnumbered 1,000,000 to 1, you just go straight for the monarch and take them hostage. And then strangle them on a post. See, that's how empires fall. That night you hold a feast to celebrate your rule over the ants. And a carnival shows up, and it's with a ladybug, who are, as you know, history's greatest manipulators. Who knows how deep this goes? The ants are in cahoots with the ladybugs. Who knows what kind of nefarious, world-dominating, completely non-specific crimes that they're involved in? And yes, this is where the ants got their ideas from. It is something truly, truly suspicious. But just as you're about to squish everyone, and of course the ladybug, two little woodlouse show up and start wailing on each other. Physical comedy.
Now that's funny.
Okay, fair enough, putting aside the ladybug thing, this is fine. Carnival ladybugs, probably not in cahoots with the shadowy cabal. It's just some carnival people. And I mean, like, what's the harm? It's been a rough day. It's been really brutal. And you need a little bit of time to decompress, you know? You are still only an insect. And I mean, it's a pretty good show, all things considered. They even have a magician. Holy crap. Awesome.
Burnt down. Let her go. Maybe you'll saw her in half.
But then something is wrong. The queen is gone. Great, so now you have to kill the carnival people, or at least torture them to get the information. There's a grim reality. This is just what you need to do. This is how you keep order. A bird appears and sends everything into chaos. A bird is bad news.
My eye! Help me!
You cannot control a bird, they are a force of nature. Let's just take a moment to process the fact that a flea managed to displace enough liquid and calculated the trajectory of a precariously balanced tin can at the exact right angle to produce enough fire to set a bird alight in flight. Truly, this is why carnies are the scariest insects of them all. Okay, so it was just a trick. Now, putting aside the fact that the ants managed to figure that stuff out, that is insane. This is pure rebellion now.
Whose idea was this? Huh?
Of course, no one wants to own up to it until you threaten the princess.
The bird was my idea. I'm the one you want.
Oh boy, it's that same ant again. So you rough him up a little bit with Thumper. Before you kill him, you need to set the piece again. By crushing this one voice, you crush all the voices.
You were gonna squish the queen.
I hate it when someone gives away the ending.
But before you kill him, you need to emphasize your point. You need to make sure that they do know their place. Because holy crap, that bird eye thing was truly horrifying. Something they cannot ever do again, or at least, maybe for you they could.
Ideas are very dangerous things.
You are mindless, soil-shoving losers, put on this earth to serve us.
You're wrong, Hopper.
He really does not shut up, does he?
Are not meant to serve grasshoppers.
And you're losing the crowd. You're getting desperate. This is the worst case scenario.
So who is the weaker species? Ants don't serve grasshoppers. It's you who need us.
Oh, that's not great, but that's okay. A little bit of cheeky murder, and you'll be fine. Oh shit, they're unionized. Oh no. And your men, they run. They're all weak, all of them. And this is why you hated working with them, because they're mindless cowards. But they tie you up, and that's when the rains come. And I mean, like, it's a full Vietnam-style war. Using that moment, you take the revolutionary. You make him disappear. But they nearly catch you, and they take your antenna. And the princess steals the revolutionary, but that's okay. You find him alone, all ready for a killing.
Well, what's this?
A bird? Again? Come on, man. Like, you gonna fall for that same trick again? And that's how it ends. Top G killed by a chick. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and comment, subscribe. We're on the way to 100k. It would be nice to hit that before, you know, the end of the year. So subscribe, and then 100k, I will think of something to do, but I think it's going to be something very important. But anyway, just want to shout out my members, especially Jay and all the people that just joined recently. You guys are awesome. But thank you, Jay, and of course, Lavender, Yuri, and Alan. Have a great day. Have a great life.